Well, who would have thought that this day will become so crucial, even though this day was marked in every cricket lover's calendar? Well, Team India come into this one all guns blazing, sporting their flaming orange. And if there is a moment England want to seize, then this is it. Join us in the openers as Michael Atherton and Saurav Ganguly will be questioned by two very special people. It's match 38 of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. World number one taking on world number two. India versus England, but there's more to this high-octane clash as it's a day dedicated to One Day for Children. Well, cricket is such a powerful sport, you know. It has the power of uniting people from across the world. And today, the International Cricket Council will use this power to help children come together and make a better future for them. And hence, we've got these two lovely children who'll open the show for us. So, Neha and Edward, the stage is all yours. I'll start with you, Edward.
Saurav, do you think Virat Kohli is the best Indian batsman of all time?
I think he's the best Indian batsman, but I'll be a little restrictive to use the word all time because I've seen some great players. Sachin I've played, he was fantastic player. Dravid, there were some great players, but he is right up there with everyone. And hopefully someday you'll be batting like him.
Edward, that was a fantastic question. You put him right on the spot there.
Yeah, he was absolutely direct. Now, Neha, it's your turn.
So what's been your favourite moment of the Cricket World Cup so far?
Oh, favourite moment of the World Cup? I would say the catches, the standard of fielding and the catches, and a couple in particular, Ben Stokes at the Oval out on the boundary and Sheldon Cottrell, the West Indies fielder, who took that brilliant one-handed catch and ran over the boundary and then came back again. So I think the standard of fielding has been out of this world.
Wow. Thank you so much, Edward. Thanks a lot, Neha, for joining us this morning. Thanks a lot. And you guys did do a good job of putting our guests on the spot. Let's take a look at the points table. And I'll ask you, Saurav. Thank you so much, Neha. Thanks a lot, Edward. I'll start with you, Saurav. What are the permutations and combinations that you see there? Pakistan's chances, and who would have thought England would be at the verge of an exit?
It's still very wide open, isn't it, at this stage, except India and Australia, who've just got their noses ahead. Australia obviously has qualified, and India right up there. And the way India have played in this competition so far, you expect them to go through. After New Zealand's loss yesterday to Australia, it still could be anybody between England, New Zealand and Pakistan. England have been a very good one-day side over the last 3 or 4 years. So personally, I wouldn't want them to go out of the competition so quickly because I think they're a good side. They just haven't played well so far in this competition. Too many losses, too many soft matches, and hopefully I would say they turn it around and get to the last 4 because I think they're a genuinely good one-day side.
Right. And Michael, with their backs against the wall and this one becoming an almost do-or-die situation for England, they will risk playing Jason Roy.
It sounds like they'll risk playing Roy and Archer, and that's one of the problems for England with that defeat against Sri Lanka, which opened the whole tournament up, really. Had England beaten Sri Lanka, they'd probably be in a situation a bit like India now, where you're comfortable and you can rest the players who've got niggles, like Roy and Archer, until the critical stages come the semi-finals. But England find themselves in a real scrap now to get through to the semis, so they're forced to make 1 or 2 gambles, one of which may well be playing Jason Roy today and Jofra Archer, who've both got niggles. And that's really because of the situation that England find themselves in.
Right, and how important does it become for England now to start well with the new ball?
Yeah, start well with the new ball, yes, from both sides, batting and bowling, because everyone knows India is top heavy. The batsmen in form are the ones who are right up at the top. So as you rightly said, bowl well with the new ball, but most importantly, bat well. You know, what I saw against New Zealand a couple of days ago when they played Pakistan, it just spun here in Birmingham. And as I went in the morning and saw the pitch, it looks hard, it looks with a little bit of grass, but I think the key for England will be to bat well as well. Not just start well with the new ball, but bat well right throughout the innings.
Right, bat well throughout the innings, but Jofra Archer becomes key again, but again suffering with an injury.
Well, we think he's not in exactly 100% fit, that he might have a little niggle to his side, and that was there before the Australia game. And again, with Roy, if England were comfortable, if the semi-final place was assured, they'd probably rest Archer today and wait for that game. But they're not in a position to do that. And again, that reflects the situation that England have put themselves in. But having said all that, the message from Owen Morgan to his team should be, this is still in our hands. We win 4 games, you can win the World Cup. It's as simple as that.
Right, and if we take a look at the pitch, Michael, you think this pitch has posed some serious questions to England's batting order?
Well, it's a fresh pitch today. What we've seen in the tournament so far is that 1 or 2 pitches have been played on before, they've been used, so they've been quite slow and helpful to the spinners. And in those conditions, India have a wonderful attack. With Shami and Bumrah and the 2 wrist spinners, that is a perfect attack for a kind of slowish used pitch. But it's a fresh pitch today. It may be a higher tempo game than India have played in so far. It'd be interesting. I might ask Virat at the toss whether he's preparing for a higher tempo game against England than we've seen so far.
Right, and if you look at the squad, you'll find it a balanced squad. You make any changes there?
For England?
For England.
What they might do is think about playing Plunkett for Moeen Ali, who's not been at his best yet. It'll be a little bit pitch dependent. If they think it's going to spin, they might play 2 spinners, Rashid and Ali. But if they don't, then they might think about Liam Plunkett, who hasn't played that much so far, missed the 2 defeats, and may come back into the game. And obviously Roy in for Vince is a big plus for England.
Right. Well, shifting gears to India, Saurav, I'm going to ask you that question that I'm pretty sure the world has been asking you since the beginning we entered into the World Cup. But number 4 for India, still a circle?
Yeah, it is, because there hasn't been enough runs at number 4. I said even before the World Cup team was picked about Rishabh Pant, because I just feel he's an absolute match winner. But whether India will change today, I'm not sure. They might just still go in with Vijay Shankar because it's a winning combination. They haven't been under pressure yet by any side. It's been a convincing tournament for them so far, except the game against Afghanistan. So I think they will probably go with the same side. That's the way Virat Kohli wants to play. He doesn't chop and change very quickly. He's done that before, chopping and changing. But over the last 6-7 months, he's just started to be a bit more sure and try and keep the same squad as much as possible. So I won't be surprised if Vijay Shankar plays today.
Right, but don't you think that this is the time, if you want to experiment with that position with Dinesh Karthik and Rishabh Pant coming in, this is the time rather than the semi-finals?
I don't see experiments in the World Cup, any game. And then this is a big game. Firstly, if India wins this, India qualify. Secondly, they put England out, who I think is a more dangerous opposition than Pakistan and New Zealand in the last 4. Australia have been superb, so India will look at that part as well. Win this game and put England out of the competition. As they said, they have Bangladesh in a day's time, day after tomorrow. If they have to do any experimentation or any changes, they can do it in the next game. But I don't believe in making unnecessary changes. If they believe in Vijay Shankar, he just played 2 knocks, 2 innings. He's got a 20 against Afghanistan and failed against West Indies. It's too early to judge a young player after 2 one-day innings. So I think Virat Kohli will go on with him. And if he doesn't perform, I believe Rishabh Pant is a player for the future and someone who will play for a long period of time.
All right, and now that you mentioned Virat Kohli, let's just get to the man himself. He was asked yesterday in the press conference that you seem like you have no pressure, but he said that I would be lying if I would say that I'm under no pressure. He's definitely feeling the pressure. But very recently, most of his 50s have not been converted into 100s, which earlier was not the case.
Well, he's in fine form. He's very consistent in this tournament. He's playing well as far as I can see. I mean, the answer about the pressure was interesting. Young players sometimes look at these great players like Kohli and think they don't feel an ounce of pressure, but everybody does. There's always those nerves before you walk into the crease for the first time. But Kohli deals with this pressure. Every Indian cricketer deals with this pressure day in, day out, 365 days of the year. So it is not a new thing for him. And somehow you condition yourself to deal with it. You're living in this goldfish bowl, this bubble. And you condition yourself to deal with it, as Saurav and Sachin and all that generation of Indian cricketers had to do. So it's no different for Kohli today. I think for England, it is a bigger game, a sense of occasion that you don't always get as an England cricketer, with the added pressure of a must-win game as well.
Right, and India now has started struggling with problem of plenty. And that's why the fans tuned in, and he's asking Saurav, Considering the success with three paces of Australia, if India plays in the finals, will they play Bhuvi, Shami and Bumrah in the 11 at the Lords?
No. India will go with their two spinners. That's the way they play their cricket, and two wrist spinners who are in tremendous form. So I don't see any changes in that bowling lineup unless and until someone's injured. Bumrah and Shami have done exceptionally well. Pandya has done exceptionally well. Vijay Shankar comes in as the fourth seamer if there is a bit of help from the surface. But even Lord spun yesterday when New Zealand played Australia. So as the tournament goes, because as Michael said at the start of the show, that they keep playing on the same ground, same pitches, and the pitches have started to get tired. So as the tournament progresses, spin will become even more important. So for the balance, the two wrist spinners will be a part of the Indian squad, and they've bowled exceptionally well. Right. And I think that's where England need to make a mark today. They have to decide that they cannot allow Bumrah and Shami to settle. They have to score runs against him, otherwise there's too much pressure in the middle order.
There's a very interesting statistic, actually, in the opening power play. India are by far the most economical side, and they're more economical than any other team by at least 1 run per over in those first 10 overs, which suggests just how well India's new ball bowlers, Bumrah, Shami, and previously Bhuvaneshwar Kumar bowled. And England are the type of team that like to go hard up front, so I agree, that'll be a critical little phase of the game.
Indeed. So, sorry, we'll be playing the same winning combination today.
I've said Pant from day one of this competition.
Right.
But I think they'll go with Vijay Shankar today.
Vijay Shankar today. And if you were to choose between Bhuvi and Shami going forward when Bhuvi's fit?
I think Shami is exceptional. Yes, Bhuvi, I like him. He's a tough competitor. He's done well in the first 2 games where he played. He can give you a little bit with the bat. But when you see Mohammad Shami, when you see that ball coming out of his hand, you know that he's special, and I will go with him.
All right. So here's another question, Michael, from one of the fans who've tuned in. And they're asking, what is the main reason why chases has been difficult in the World Cup? Only once 250 plus has been chased down in the World Cup, and that too with small ground. West Indies forgetting all basics and not having an X factor.
2 reasons, I think. One is just the nature of the competition. This is a World Cup. It's not what you might call a bilateral series where there's no great consequences if you lose. There are consequences to each defeat here, and that adds a bit of pressure when you're chasing in the second innings. And the second reason is the nature of the pitches. It's been a cool, damp start to the summer. We haven't had much sun on the pitches, so the pitches are quite slow. 1 or 2 have been used as well, so there's a bit of spin for the tweakers. So I think the combination of the pressure of a World Cup plus pitches that have not been perhaps as flat or batting friendly as we normally see here in England have added to make it difficult run chases.
Right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for joining me this morning, and thanks a lot for joining us. Don't forget to catch all our updates, highlights and features on @ICC Cricket World Cup. And remember, this is one day for children. Thank you for watching.